Welcome to 1991 Movie Rewind, a podcast where we watch and review every movie released in 1991, from the all-time greatest classics to the critically panned and everything in between. We will rediscover forgotten fan favorites and uncover hidden gems as we explore the depths of direct-to-video. Join us in our celebration of the fun, unique, and diverse films of this highly underrated year. This week, we watched Dolly Dearest. Thank you for joining us on 1991 Movie Rewind. In Dolly Dearest, the Wade family is moving to Mexico. Elliott, played by Sam Bottoms, is starting up a doll factory in the same building where one was previously abandoned. Right next door, an ancient tomb is being excavated, and the evil spirit escapes to inhabit the dolls that were left behind. Screenplay by Lease, directed by Lease, and released on October 18th, 1991. Have you seen Dolly Dearest before?
No.
You've heard of this one?
Yeah, I mean, I've seen the cover of this box before.
Yeah, but it's very clear that it's just like a Child's Play ripoff.
Kinda, because...
I mean, it's been a while since I've seen the first one. But...
This is just, instead of... like the demon or whatever. I mean, in Child's Play, it's not really a demon. It's just that guy who
it's like a serial killer or something.
Yeah,
right?
His spirit goes into the Chucky doll. This is like a demon going through all these dolls and then kind of like Exorcist in a way, because it also is in charge of, it's like under the little girl's spell too. Like
yeah,
the demon is
Child's
kind of
Play,
like...
There's no possession.
Yeah,
of
there's no
child
possession.
Yeah, that's probably I don't know.
But this is just like around the time where you had, Child's Play, and then you had Dolls and like Puppet Master.
Mm-hmm. So
there's just like another one of those movies.
Yeah, here's another one, and it's... Okay, I haven't seen most of those, right? I've seen the original Child's Play. Obviously, we'll have to get to part 3 at some point for this podcast, which I'm not looking super forward to, but, I mean, just because I don't like Child's Play stuff. I don't know.
You know, like...
I don't like the doll stuff.
Yeah.
And it's not necessarily even that I think it's creepy. It's just... I like campy horror movies.
But you don't like possession of little... You don't want to see little dolls killing people?
I think it's like this weird one step too far when you like make this demon doll and it's supposed to have superhuman strength and can overpower people.
Oh, so yeah, like, when Chucky's like beating up an adult man who's like 6'5" or something.
Yes. Like that's like a step too far, and also the movie like takes itself a little bit too seriously to be fully entrenched in the campiness that I like out of that. This one I think is trying to be a little bit campier, I guess, but I'm not 100% convinced of that. But it has the same type of issues where you have this little doll that can, contort its face and look evil and grotesque to suit its needs, or just be all cutesy like a normal doll. Mm-hmm. And it just overpowers adults all the time. I mean, I guess in some of these cases it's not like a physical overpowering, it's more like setting up booby traps, so it's a little bit different. But it's kind of convoluted how they kill.
Yeah, it's... And the way that these dolls... The dolls don't really start talking until close to the end. Because in the beginning, it's just like... And it just makes that type of noise.
Yeah.
Until they start kind of talking to each other. And they're like... Whisper talk. Like, okay, come over here. Or they start talking to the little girl.
well,
more.
The doll is talking to a little girl, but we just never see it
Yeah,
as an
we don't
audience
see
member.
it or hear it.
It's
just,
all like telepathic.
Yeah, the little girl is talking, listening to the doll and laughing,
and we hear nothing.
We don't
as
hear
an
anything,
audience.
and then the little girl is saying, "Oh well, Dolly says this."
Yeah, Dolly told me. Dolly said
blah
to do.
blah.
And
The
we know
little
that
girl is Jessica.
Yeah, little girl is Jessica. We know that the doll is evil from the start. It's not like they're hiding this information to, I don't know, try to trick us into thinking that the daughter is
Evil.
Yeah, like it's pretty clear that it's not. The spirit didn't go into Jessica. It went into the dolls. We saw it go into the dolls.
Mm-hmm.
But it's almost as if the movie's structured to make us question whether or not the doll is actually evil, and maybe it's the daughter all along. But
I never thought that.
I guess the way that they're hiding it from the mother, like the mother thinks that it's the daughter. That's
and then
evil.
When she's
and
around
the doll,
father, she's like.
And then we're not
nice,
let into
I guess.
that either, so it's almost like they're trying to treat us as if we're the mother piecing this together too.
Yeah,
I guess
she's
that's where
just
I'm coming
like
from.
she's lashing out only around her mom.
Yeah.
And then when she's around her father, she's like, "Oh, daddy, mommy did this," like kind of. But I don't know why. Because the father gave the daughter the doll to begin with.
I guess so. Or just to reinforce that there's a lot of tropes in this, and one of them is something's happening to the family member, and the male figure refuses to believe their wife.
Mm.
Right? That's usually the way these things go. Even in contemporary
make
horror,
the wife
is that the
look
wife
and seem like she's crazy.
Exactly, and the husband is the non-believing asshole who eventually comes around when things start to happen
when
to
he
him.
sees it for himself, and it's too late.
Yeah, and it's too late. So I think it's sort of there for that type of thing and just add the conflict. But I don't know if you even need it. I will say this. I'm glad that the movie started off pretty quickly with getting to the meat of things.
Yeah, it just started, and I'm glad to. But it was kind of confusing at first because you see, I thought they were like in a coal mine or something. I didn't know it was an archaeological dig.
It's tough. Yeah, the opening scene shows a sign in Spanish.
It just says kind of like "keep out."
And I don't think there's any translation given on that. So, yeah, and you see like a sole person, like a single excavator trying to open up some sort of a door. And he eventually does, but the door crushes him and kills him. And then this red light escapes.
Yeah.
And goes into the dolls.
The dolls that are near in this
I guess we
factory.
Don't physically see the light go into the dolls, do we? But we see it go into the factory, and so
yeah,
like,
I mean
where
the
else
dolls
would they
are
go?
there. Yeah.
I can't remember if we see the light.
And then
go
I was
under
like,
the curtain
why
or
is
not.
this factory so close to this archaeological dig that they're doing?
Yeah.
If they're doing if they're digging up old Mayan ruins from thousands of years ago, why do you have this building near it? Wouldn't you just close down that building and close off that like a perimeter saying, hey, we're going to be doing this dig, and it's closed off for like a 1 mile radius? I don't know.
Yeah, because when I say
it just seems like this factory is literally next door to this hole that they're digging in.
That's what I was just about to say. Yeah, when I said in the summary right next door, I mean it. Like it's
like
right
they're
outside.
the backyard of this guy's dollhouse making situation.
You open up one of the doors to this basically elongated shed, and there it is, right out front. So Yeah, it doesn't make sense because the building was locked down to begin with. It's weird because I don't know. You would think that there would be a correlation between the two buildings already, like the tomb and then the doll making thing, because the previous doll maker, Mrs. DeLuca, who's never seen on camera because she died and just left this building to rot. Well, I mean, it's not like she purposely did, right? But whoever was taking care of it, this guy, Mr. Estrella, he basically scams the Wade family and says, hey, yeah, come out here. We have this building for you. You can use all this stuff. And it's like,
it's
all this
kind of
pre-existing equipment and stuff. And it's like rusted and like shitty.
Yeah, like Poltergeist.
And out in the middle of nowhere. Yeah, so why is there that sway to keep that building there to be reopened after the dig has already started? Yeah, some of that stuff doesn't make sense. And like, was there a connection between the dolls and the these ruins before? Probably not. But
yeah, they
could
didn't
have made that connection.
Yeah, they didn't know that this factory was gonna be haunted in any way.
No, because it wasn't until like a week before they arrived.
Yeah.
When the door fell off in the opening
scene.
So, I don't know. It's such a weird thing.
Yeah, and then how the realtor even said, oh yeah, like just very nonchalantly when the family moves down to Mexico and sees the factory for the first time, he's like, oh yeah, someone died just like down that hole a week ago, by the way.
Yeah, he basically said like, yeah, that area is closed off until they can do something or other because this guy died a week ago.
Like, wouldn't you as the family be like, oh shit? I don't know. Like,
I don't know. Like the whole setup of them moving to Mexico just doesn't make a whole lot of sense. And it's
you
like
drop your life just to become a doll maker in the middle of Mexico.
Yeah, and just like the casual racism that kind of goes along with the way things are handled and the way they're interpreted. It's like, like everything's perfectly fine. Ignore the fact that it's like dusty and rusted and everything else. It's like, that's, because we kept it just how she left it and everything's good. Mm-hmm. And, Mr. Wade's like, no one did any maintenance to this stuff. Like, no one tried to like upkeep the property. It's like, no, we just kept it locked. It's like, didn't we do such a great job? Aren't you so glad you're here? Yeah, it kind of rubbed me the wrong way. But yeah, like the whole general concept is kind of weird. But they put their entire life savings basically into this whole thing. And so obviously this dude, Elliott, didn't do his due diligence to figure out what's going on. He never took like a quick trip to Mexico by himself to see the property before moving his entire family there.
Yeah. They just went in blind.
Mm-hmm.
For this new business venture that he's gonna take.
Yeah, and I don't know, there's so much that's weird about it. There's like no timelines or anything. We don't know when he's supposed to turn things around. We don't know what kind of like, are they gonna have a bunch of employees and all these kind of things. It's just a weird situation. But this guy, this Mr. Estrella is basically like, oh, we're rolling out the red carpet for you and you are so important to the future of Mexico in a sense. Like, that's sort of like how it's approached in the beginning.
Uh-huh.
And I don't know, that weird, I'm sure it's patronization, but at the same time, it's a weird introduction to the whole plot of the story. But beyond that, like I said, we have the red light at the very beginning, which gets things going. And then as soon as they arrive in Mexico, they go to the factory to check it out. And the daughter, after following a frog, happens to, stumble upon these dolls and is like, ooh, I want one. And the dad's like, okay, cool.
Yeah, pick one.
Take one, because obviously, the owner's not here to say no, since she's dead. And, yeah. So she picks one out. And, I think the impression that you're supposed to get there is, oh, she picked the one doll that was possessed. And
yeah,
then maybe
but then,
the twist is the fact that you have all of them are actually possessed still.
Yeah.
And it doesn't matter which one she picked after all. They all look the same. They're all identical. But yeah, early on you get to see some of this stuff, and like as soon as the daughter brings it back home, she puts it onto the rocking chair, says goodnight, and you see the head move afterwards. So it's like, okay, it's going to be a quick little turnaround before this stuff happens. You also have a quick introduction to Rip Torn, who's our secondary, I guess tertiary, because you got Denise Crosby as Marilyn Wade, the wife. You got Rip Torn, who is another archaeologist who is at some sort of university. He's been given photos by the guy who dies in the opening scene. Sees that the symbols are not Mayan, as if that's what they're expecting in that part of the region. Instead, it's something called Sanzia, and so he needs to go and investigate as soon as possible because this is possibly a massive discovery. So he's on his way. And in the meantime, we get to see all the fun interplay with Jessica and their housekeeper, Camilla. Who I guess was gifted to them as part. Like, I don't understand this whole situation.
Yeah, I don't. So was Camilla the house? So these people, did they move in the house that the former owner of the doll maker's house, I guess?
I guess so. I think they probably did say that
and it
specifically,
came
but I don't
with
know.
A housekeeper and like a groundskeeper type of guy. But and I don't know. Anyway.
Yeah, the important thing is you need to have some sort of local staff to help them out and
right, even though like the mom doesn't
housekeeping stuff.
Yeah, the mom is like not doing anything, so why does she need help? But whatever. And she's super religious. There is a point where Jessica sees Camilla praying. Well, no, it starts off where Camilla tells like a local priest to bless their house.
Yeah, they're driving back to the house and they see this priest doing a prayer over them.
And just, spraying holy water around the perimeter of the house. And you see Jessica, like, wincing.
She's freaking the fuck out. It's not just wincing. She's like...
Yeah, she's starting to
She's
freak.
like tantrum. And... that's the first indication, which is weird. Like, it's weird to have a priest do a prayer over the house. I honestly thought they were just driving by a church. Like,
yeah, I didn't know
where
it
they're
was
coming
their
from.
house.
That they're driving to their house. But they do have to drive to the factory for the most part. We do see a couple scenes where Jimmy, the son, runs through a graveyard in order to get to the factory.
Yeah, the
we
factory
don't know exactly
is
how far it is, but it
not
is
that far if you can walk to it.
Yeah, but it's not so close that it's convenient to walk to it. I guess is the idea. Anyway, they're driving to the house, and that's whatever. And then there's another scene where Camilla has her cross off of her wrist, dangling down, and Jessica gives it stink eye.
Yeah, and then pushes Camilla.
Yeah, and pushes the plate. She takes the plate out of her hands and pushes it. So, because Dolly says to.
Right.
And Dolly's making her draw these pictures of these Sanzia symbols that Camilla recognizes as Sanzia, and no one else knows what the hell that means.
Right. I even looked up, is Sanzia a real thing? Mm-hmm. And it's not.
Okay.
I was like, is this a local sort of, lore in Mexico? Some sort of, like La Llorona or whatever. But no, this is just made up for this movie. At least, I mean, that's what I found, because I couldn't find anything besides other websites talking about Dolly Dearest and Sanzia.
Okay. So yeah, to kind of skip forward, I guess, the idea is that there's some sort of child devil that has the body of a child and the head of a goat, and that is devilish, and that's the Sanzia god in a sense.
Yes, that these people worshipped however many years ago.
Let loose.
And I mean, so when Jessie or Jessica pushes Camilla, she speaks in Sanzian, and Camilla recognizes that and tells the mom. But that's when the mom is like, can you, like in a roundabout way, saying, can you just not pray or be religious around my daughter?
Yeah. And Camilla's like, I quit.
Yeah, okay. And she's like, okay, well, I quit. But then that night, she's still there.
Yes. Is the mom there at all?
No.
The mom and the dad come back, and I don't know where the hell they went.
I don't know where they came from.
I guess they went out to dinner somewhere. We don't know what town they're in. We have no idea how big or
isolated. Yeah, I don't know where they are.
Because you only see
in Mexico. It's just
3 locations in the entire movie. You see like the airport,
the house,
and then the factory.
The factory
/ ruins. That's it. So they're whatever. Camilla's still there even after she quits, and she's doing ironing and whatever. And then Jessica gets up out of bed and goes into this little dollhouse thing that's in the backyard, which has become, their little
hangout,
little devil hangout. Camilla's following it and following her, and basically says, hey, yeah, you need to come inside, you shouldn't be out this late, and all this kind of stuff. And then the door closes on them because Dolly does that with her mind.
Yes. And this was Camilla's like, you stay here while I go through the front. Why don't you bring the child with you and go in together?
Yeah.
In the front.
Yeah.
But either way, the doors are locked at both sides.
And so she eventually is able to get into like the cellar.
Yeah.
And this is the only clue that we have to say, well, unless there was some dialogue that we missed at the very beginning, this is probably Mrs. DeLuca's house. Because in the cellar there are tons of doll parts.
Dolls, yeah.
Tons of parts, like the eyeballs especially is what freaks her out.
Yeah.
And Dolly is there too. And it becomes basically like the scene from The Perfect Bride, except with the doll, where, she gets stabbed and she's falling down the stairs.
I mean, this is the parts where Dolly, this beginning part where Dolly is killing people is funny, because she just pops out and goes, rah, and everyone's like, what the fuck?
Yeah. Yeah, I mean, it's definitely goofy and funny, but it's
cheesy, I don't know.
Yeah, it's like too cheesy in a way. It's expectedly cheesy. How about that? So one thing leads to another. There's a fight. There's some stabbings, and Camilla falls into
a big
pool of water. Which we're not 100% sure what it is. Like it could be just like a well that's open in the basement or something else. But it's like a giant, deep pool of water that she falls into, and then Dolly throws a light bulb that was attached to a string, and I don't think is anymore, into the pool, and that electrocutes her.
Mm-hmm.
Which I don't think is possible. But whatever. It's a doll come to life.
Mm-hmm.
So there's our official first on-screen death. Meanwhile, Jimmy has already gone to play in the Mayan site because he doesn't care about what's going on either. He's the proper nerd with a tie and glasses.
He's just super interested in it. And when they first go to that factory, he's immediately warned by his father to not go near the cave or the entrance.
Yeah, warned by everybody,
yeah,
including like this little barking dog.
Oh yeah,
in a sense,
but he's like, whatever. I still want to go see it.
Mm-hmm. So yeah. So he's super intrigued by that too. Okay. So after they get back, right? So all this happens. Camilla dies. The parents come back. There's like a lightning crash that happens, and like the window breaks and like explodes on their faces, basically. They're looking for Camilla, and the dad goes down to the cellar, and like the body comes popping out on top of them, and all this kind of stuff. And surprise, your daughter is a demon, but only the mom is able to sort of recognize that.
Yeah, and like, I don't know, however many hours later, but the father's just like, I called the appropriate people, and they're gonna come on over. The end of that scene.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Like, aren't you like, shook that the housekeeper died in your home? And they just go about their day as if nothing happened after that.
I gotta go to the doll factory and do nothing.
Yeah, it's like,
I don't know how much time has passed.
the people and they'll come. Anyways, I'm gonna go to the fucking dollhouse thing. Meanwhile, you can still live in the house while there's a dead body in your cellar. Okay, goodbye. That's just kind of like how he is.
Mm-hmm. Like, I really don't know what the dad is doing in the doll factory at all. Because
you see someone else doing the doll making, sort of.
Are they even making dolls yet? Like, there's this guy, Luis, who's going to be the next to die. Right?
Yeah,
like,
but...
kill all the natives first.
Is he... Yeah, but, I know. This is... So but what was his role? Is he...
I don't know, because the place still looks like the same shitty mess at the end of the movie as it did at the beginning. So, like, how long have you been there, and have you even started trying to clean up anything or getting rid of this old material that's in the place? Like, why do you have all these old Dolly Dearest, boxes hanging around when you're not going to be selling that? You're going to be making your own things. Like, get the junk out of there first. If you're actually going to turn it into a workable factory. Is he just
checking up on the factory? I don't know.
No, they're there. They have officially moved.
Okay. But Louis.
Oh, I don't know what the hell. Yeah, I think he's a worker because the dad says, hey, I'm beat. Here's the keys. You lock up.
Okay, so it's
I'm
just
the owner.
Dad and
you do all
Louis.
This stuff.
Yeah. I literally don't even know. Yeah, I don't know what he's done all day because it looks like nothing has been done.
No, it doesn't.
And yeah, and this is the second death where I don't like it. This is where all the dolls kind of come to life, sorta, and they're coming at him in different ways. And he unexpectedly stitches his hand and like cuts off his finger from like a sewing machine.
Yeah.
And then all the dolls are coming at him. And
I have no idea what actually happened to him.
Like, he had a heart... There's a point...
That's what they say, is that he had a heart attack.
There's a point where... Yeah, they said he had a heart attack, but there's a point where he's dying and he rips his shirt off. And it looks as if a doll was going to come through his chest, because his chest was hardcore, beating.
It bulged a little bit.
It, bulged out hardcore. It wasn't, a normal heartbeat. It looks like the alien was trying to come out, and it didn't.
But, I mean, not much physically happened to him other than, his hand is in the sewing machine and it got, kind of stitched up a little bit.
Yeah.
It wasn't major damage to him, but he looked at the hand and he's like, ah! And then he falls over.
Yeah, he rips his shirt off and then, dies from whatever.
So it's kind of that was a funny scene.
It was just weird.
But it was, it was head-scratching. I mean, he's trying to pretend like he's on this date with the doll or whatever at some point. Like, I'm going to eat dinner with you then. And then
he's kind of
then he insults it. And he's like, oh, you don't want to talk to me? Then fine. And he, insults the doll. He's like, well, you're an ugly doll and this kind of stuff. And then they all come alive.
Yeah.
I don't know. And then you have this subplot with Jimmy and Rip Torn's character. I don't even remember the guy's name. It's Carl Resnick. These kids are assholes. Right? So like Jimmy just
the
like
brother?
Yeah, like the dude like he steals the helmet from Rip Torn, like he's like, hey, you shouldn't be going in there. This is a very dangerous archaeological site. It's not for kids to play around with. And the kid's like, and I'm just gonna steal your helmet and just like go in where you can't get to. It's like, what a fucking dick. Like shitty fucking people in this movie. I don't know. I don't have any sympathy for Jimmy either. Because I mean, he just goes around and just does whatever the fuck he wants.
The day. I don't know.
Does he?
When he shoots the doll.
Yeah. Fine. But I don't know. Like he doesn't listen any more than the daughter does.
I mean, they're just fucking kids.
And the daughter's possessed.
Yeah.
That's her excuse. Is she's actually possessed by a demon. And Jimmy's just a fucking shit.
No, I don't know. He's just like he's really interested in this archaeological. I mean, he sort of helps out the archaeologists because he's able to fit in this little crack or whatever.
I mean, yeah, I understand
Carl
that,
like what's underneath it.
I don't understand how any logic in this movie works, because why would he be there alone? Why would Rip Torn's character be there alone? Why would the person who died at the beginning be there alone?
Yeah, you think there would be a team of archaeologists.
There should be a team.
Yeah.
You can't afford a team with
especially
this budget, I'm sure.
If it's like some sort of rare thing that was found.
Yeah. This is such an important discovery. I'm just going to abandon whatever professor duties I have at this university, and I'm going to go do this by myself.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. But that's the budget probably talking. So, I don't know. Whatever. I just didn't like Jimmy. I thought he was a secret jerk.
Oh, I thought he was probably the best person out of this entire movie.
I like Jessica the most. Just be performance wise. I thought the little girl who played Jessica, Candace Hudson, was the best part. Maybe yeah, Jimmy does save the day at some point, but not after like sneaking out of the house when specifically being told to not leave, and he runs in the dark across this graveyard getting chased by a dog, and the dolls are now after him as well. And then there's this Rip Torn's dealing with an arsonist because people are trying to shut down the dig site and keep the evil from getting out, even though it already has gotten out. And there's a decent scene, I guess, where you have like this head on the stick, and was it in the factory? I guess it was in the factory.
Yeah, this is when Jimmy is in the factory, and
trying to escape after he discovers Lewis.
Right. No, he doesn't even discover him.
He discovers Lewis after that because it scares him, and then he falls onto Lewis's body.
Yeah, even though Lewis is not like
literally right in fucking front of him.
Yeah.
Anyway, there's a head on the stick, and the eyes are moving, and it has like this big long snake tongue, and it's like probably one of the better practical effects in the movie. Mm-hmm. And the mom is...
things escalate with Jessica and the doll.
Yeah.
To the point where, I mean, she's just locking herself in that little dollhouse, and there's a point where Jessica is separated from Dolly. Like, Dolly's sitting in a room on a chair, and that's when the mom confronts the doll, and that's when the doll actually starts talking.
Yeah, I mean, I think slightly before that. It is before that. Like, the mom, like, tries to separate the doll from Jessica. They were sleeping in the same bed. And the mom's like, I'm just going to move the doll to the chair. And Jessica is like, I'll kill you. And, like, she starts speaking in a devil voice and everything. And then, like, immediately after, like, the dad doesn't believe the wife that happened.
Even though because Jimmy's like, whoa, your voice. And then
like,
the
Jimmy
dad...
fucking heard the voice change, too.
And the dad is there too, and he's like, "What's going on?" And then that's when Jessica is back to her regular voice, going, "Oh, Daddy, Mommy's a fucking bitch," basically. And then
the doll is the only thing that I have in this stupid country you dragged me to.
Yeah, this is my only friend, and Mommy's trying to take her away from me. And then like the dad is like, "Okay," like the dad is fuck the dad. Yeah. I don't know. He is the worst out of all these people.
Oh, yeah.
Okay.
I'm saying Jimmy's a secret shit.
I don't know. He saved the mom and Jessica.
he got lucky.
Okay, I don't know. If it wasn't for him sneaking out and shit, he wouldn't have, I don't know, killed the doll. I don't know.
No, because that was a separate event.
All right.
So,
well,
it had nothing to do with anything. He started to see the stuff happening with the sister too. But yeah, at some point, the mom goes to speak with like
the doll. Like confronts the doll. It's so funny.
Yeah. But she also tries to speak with Rip Torn and also Camilla's sister, who's also a nun, to try to like figure out what the hell's going on with her daughter. And Rip Torn's also like, "Oh, you crazy women! Like, why are you know?" Like, "Oh, this is not possible. You should use logic. None of these people in this town use logic, but you should because you're a white woman." I don't know. It came across as like casually racist, and some of the stuff they're talking about, like, "Oh, these stupid local superstitions."
Yeah. I mean, it starts off with just the mom telling Camilla, "Don't fucking pray in my house." Basically.
Yeah, which, I mean, I don't think it was a terrible request in a sense. Like, hey, okay, let's de-escalate this thing by, for whatever reason, she's really sensitive to this right now, so just, like, can you...
But the way she
like,
said
it's okay to pray, but, like, maybe just not around Jessica right now.
Yeah. But it's just, like, you're not allowed to have a cross necklace and blah, blah, blah.
So... Anyway, but yeah, then she speaks with, the nun who's trying to explain things, but doesn't really tell us anything we don't already know. It's kind of just a wasted scene.
Yeah, I mean, this is like Marilyn, the mom, Jessica and Jimmy, they go to the factory, and that's when the dad is being attacked by the dolls, and then meanwhile the professor, he finally enters the tomb and sees the remains of that double child, which is the body of an infant and head of a goat. Mm-hmm. And then he realizes, oh, this myth is true, and he runs to the factory where everyone is, like, saving Elliott, the dad, from the dolls.
Yeah, that's after they save themselves.
That's after Jimmy saving the day from being the original Dolly Dearest, I guess, beating up the mom, and then sort of possessing Jessica to kill her mom.
Yeah.
And you see Jimmy with a gun. I forgot what he said. He said something witty.
Kind of witty. So, the mom is, going around the house with a shotgun, trying to find the doll who had escaped. And what's kind of weird is that, the doll at some point says, Jessica's in here with me, sort of, indicating that she's somehow been absorbed into the doll's body.
Yeah.
Which isn't true.
That's what I thought was going to happen,
Yeah, I thought they were going to find some way to take her spirit into the real doll or something. And
Jessica was going to become fully of that spirit, that evil spirit. That was the intention.
Maybe that is something that's in the plot that doesn't come across very well. But anyway, she's searching for the doll and has this shotgun, and she eventually pulls it on her own child because she thinks it's going to be the doll. Doesn't shoot. But then they try to escape, and the doll is at the front door waiting.
Yeah.
And the mom tries to shoot it, but Jessica is being told by the doll to stop her mom, and so they're fighting physically.
But that's when Jimmy takes hold.
The gun gets dropped, and Jimmy grabs the gun, misses, eventually gets it right, and then
it like
figure out how to fire the gun.
Yeah, it releases the doll's hold on Jessica all of a sudden, which
after it gets blown away, and his witty line was "Play with this bitch."
I thought that was funny.
It's fine. It's fine. Yeah, I wouldn't call it witty though.
Well, whatever. That made me do a little a little chuckle.
Yeah.
I don't.
That's all you can hope for from this movie is a little chuckle.
And that's when they all drive to the factory, and then you see the dad being attacked.
He has like his rope around this ankle, and he's being wound. So he's being pulled into this mixer. So it's like spinning around, and he's being slowly pulled into the mixer, and he's going to be dropped into them.
Yeah, it is kind of funny seeing all the random dolls like trying to kill him.
And anyway, it gets stopped, and then I don't know where they get all the dynamite. I know Rip Torn has it, which makes sense as an excavator that you would have some, but I don't know where they get it so quickly. But they get a bunch of like dynamite, and at one point you see like the doll like plucking the wick out of one of them.
I mean, yeah, this is kind of a funny scene.
Yeah,
with the dolls in themselves.
But eventually they are able to blow up basically the entire factory.
And then you hear a demonic scream, and then that's just implying that Sanzia is gone. Like, that's it?
I guess, even though, like, he was pure light at the very beginning of the movie, so why couldn't he just escape the dolls and go
if this
somewhere else?
A demon, don't you literally have to exorcise it? I mean, burning it is not really gonna kill it, right?
They don't ever show them closing up the tomb or anything and be like, oh, okay, well now it's gone from the dolls and now we have to quickly go and like close the tomb up or something like that. No, none of that.
Aren't you supposed to like kill the source?
I don't know.
But that's how it ends. It's just the family watching the factory burn down.
And then credits. Yep. So I mean,
but I needed more information.
It's good to end on a high note because it is, a big boomy explosion, but it really does not present a whole lot of actual closure.
Yeah, it kind of leaves it open to maybe a sequel because it doesn't seem as if
you have to with any horror.
Sanzia is truly destroyed.
Yeah, you gotta do that. So it was a quick little sucker of a movie. It got going fast. I wish there was more death scenes. I mean, what? It killed 2 people?
Yeah.
I mean, kill the dad.
Yeah.
Kill Rip Torn.
Yeah, no.
Do you need them all? I don't need them all. I don't know.
Yeah, just kill them all except for the wife. And it's just the wife and her kids.
Yeah, even if you have
fending for themselves.
Jessica and the mom and,
kill Jimmy.
Sure, why not? He deserves it. I don't know. It was extremely what you would expect. I don't know, especially like the doll scenes as well. I know it can be very limiting as to what you can do with dolls and like what kind of stuff you can do with like people with their hands up the puppet's butt and moving them around and whatnot. So it's not very easy to figure out the right things to do with these situations.
I think the movie Dolls and Puppet Master, those are actual. This is like a direct to video. Those movies did a good job with seeing random dolls doing all kinds of shit.
I'll be interested to see how it compares.
The movie Dolls.
Yeah, and Puppet Master. We have, which one do we have? We have 2 or 3.
Oh, do we?
Yeah.
Oh, okay. Because I used to watch those movies when I was younger.
And we have Child's Play 3. So we got a few different doll horror movies at some point.
It made me scared of dolls, though. Watching those movies. And that and the movie Cat's Eye. There's like a vignette with a little thing in it's not really a doll. It's like this little creature that lives in the walls. That scared me the most out of anything. And I was truly scared of dolls. And I don't know why I'm talking about cats. Cat's Eye scared me. But I was like 8 years old when I saw that.
Anything would have scared me at 8. This would have scared me at 8 years old. This is not scary now. The doll's face is very goofy.
If I saw
think
this
they are purposely trying to
when I was younger,
Chucky's face.
I don't know if I would be scared.
I don't know.
And there's like the little tidbit. It's what I saw is like this was an inspiration to the movie Annabelle, which I
doubt that's true. I seriously doubt that.
Because I mean,
just
Annabelle
because they're both female dolls. I mean, you could easily say that Child's Play is also
right, but Annabelle is based off an actual haunted doll.
Right, that's what I thought.
So, and it's also just like the prequel to The Conjuring, and it's mostly about that family, the Warrens.
Mm-hmm.
Like they do the,
yeah, those movies also have a lot of the man not believing the woman stuff in there.
Oh yeah, but I just saw that tiny tidbit and I was like, but how? Because
I think someone just said that just because they're like, oh, they're both female dolls, they must be connected, and it's not really true. I don't know. There's not much to talk about with this one. It's fine for what it is. I mean, a lot of good practical effects in there. I don't think there's any like computer generated stuff or CG blue screeny stuff like we've seen in 976
Yeah, I mean the evil
like that,
doll face reminded me of the Unborn face.
Yeah, but I definitely think they were trying to make it into a Chucky.
Oh.
I don't know. Just the basic doll face, the non-horror one, was just too goofy for me. We'll go on to the cast and crew really quickly here. Ed Gale played the doll in an uncredited role. He is someone who has been in Bill and Ted's Bogus Journey as Station, one of the small stations. He's Dink in Spaceballs, and he also was in the costume for Howard the Duck. So he's in there, but he's not credited. I don't know who does the voice. I don't know if Ed Gale also does the voice, the demonic one, but I don't think there's anyone credited for that. So, whatever. It was written and directed by Maria Lease. I hope I'm pronouncing that right. I'm not 100% sure. She's had a varied career. Did a little bit of writing and directing, mostly in pornographic films. Little Girls Blue 1 and 2, Midnight Flight was a TV movie that she co-wrote. She's also directed other porn movies and a couple episodes of Silk Stockings. That's because she got her start as an actor in the late 60s and early 70s in a bunch of grindhouse erotic type movies. Wall of Flesh, Love Camp 7, Dracula vs. Frankenstein, and a whole bunch of other random stuff. So she's kind of part of that world, and this is basically her only feature that she wrote solo that was not an X-rated movie. She's also done a lot of work as a script supervisor for various different shows up until 2010, and it doesn't look like she's active in the industry anymore. Denise Crosby played Marilyn Wade. She was probably the big name attraction for this one because she was very popular in the early 90s here, thanks in part for her role in Star Trek The Next Generation as Lieutenant Tasha Yar. She's also done some work in 1991 in the movies Desperate Crimes and TV shows Hunter, WIOU, The Flash, and Dark Justice. She has episodes in all of those, and she was also in Next Generation in 1991 as well. She got her start with some movies like Trail of the Pink Panther and Curse of the Pink Panther because she was the daughter-in-law of Blake Edwards, who was primary of those Pink Panther movies. She's been in things like Deep Impact, the Key West TV show Ray Donovan, and Pet Sematary. And she also produced Trekkies 1 and 2, the documentaries about the Star Trek fan base.
I also learned yesterday that she was her grandfather is Bing Crosby.
Oh, okay. Sam Bottoms played Elliott Wade. He got his start in The Last Picture Show alongside his brother. He went on to do other work like Outlaw Josie Wales, Apocalypse Now, Sugar Hill, Project Shadow Chaser 3, and Seabiscuit, but he passed away in 2008, unfortunately, due to brain cancer. Rip Torn played Carl Resnick. Oscar nominated for Cross Creek back in 1983. An Emmy winner for Larry Sanders Show and nominated 5 more times for that show. Also nominated for 30 Rock, Chicago Hope, and the Atlanta Child Murders.
Razzie nominated for Freddy Got Fingered, and he'll be in a few more 1991 movies, Defending Your Life, Another Pair of Aces, Three of a Kind, Death Falls, and a movie that's not on our list called My Son Johnny. Chris Demetrol played Jimmy Wade. Both of these actors, by the way, were nominated for Saturn Awards for Best Performance by a Younger Actor. Chris Demetrol and Candace Hudson were, but they both lost out to Eddie Furlong for T2. Aside from that, Chris was nominated for a Young Artist Award for Blossom, Jonathan, The Boy Nobody Wanted, Sometimes They Come Back, which is a 1991 movie, and Lois and Clark, The New Adventures of Superman. And he also won for his role on Dream On. He was on that show for several years, the HBO series from the 80s and 90s. And he'll be in the 1991 movie Going Under. Candace Hudson, also Young Artist nominated for Evening Shade. She was also in The Maddening with her Evening Shade co-star Burt Reynolds. And she is the voice of Sarah in the Land Before Time movies, number 1 through 4.
I've seen most.
I've seen just one, I think. Lastly, I'll mention Lupe Ontiveros, who played Camilla. She was Emmy nominated for Desperate Housewives, Spirit nominee for Chuck and Buck, Alma Award winner for Veronica's Closet, nominated for As Good as It Gets, Tortilla Heaven, and Reaper. She's also been in things like Real Women Have Curves, Selena, and she narrated the documentary Made in America. So she's had a very long career, and she had an early exit in this movie. So that's about all we have. Those two Saturn Awards were basically the only things that I were nominated for. It was nominated for Best Horror Film as well, which is surprising that it made the list of...
Give it for which awards? For Saturn Awards?
For the Saturn. But I mean, it lost to Silence of the Lambs, so they're including like big theatrical releases and everything too.
I mean, there's better horror movies in this year.
Yeah, so I'm surprised it made the short list of 8. That's what I'm surprised about.
Do you know the other?
Not offhand.
Oh,
no.
I'm just wondering if like People Under the Stairs or something.
I think that was, yeah.
Okay.
But yeah, Saturn does horror, and then they also had a best sci-fi film. So this was in the best horror film category, and yeah, lost to Silence. Anyway,
I mean, if it won against that, I'd be like, what the hell?
Yeah. I mean, I can understand if it was like best direct-to-video horror film or something, but it's not even that. No, it's everything. It's like, no, it doesn't deserve a spot in the top 8 for that. All right, on to true crime and pulp culture we go.
Okay, so this movie was released October 18th, 1991, which was a Friday, and it was also released the same day as Cool as Ice. So a lot of the stuff that I talked about with Cool as Ice, especially TV-wise, is going to be the same.
Mm-hmm.
So I'm just going to go to music. I'm going to talk about the Billboard 100, the bottom 5, because I talked about the top 5 before. So this is the bottom 5 as of the week of October 19th, 1991. Alright, so starting at number 100, we have You Could Be Mine by Guns N' Roses. That's on the T2 soundtrack. And that was 15 weeks on the chart, and it peaked at number 29. Then at number 99, we had the song Good Time by Ziggy Marley and the Melody Makers. And that was on the album called Jamaica, and it's Jahmekya. And that album was nominated for a Grammy. And it peaked at number 63. 98 is the song Chorus by Erasure. And this was on their 5th album that was Mercury. It was on a short list of nominees for the 1992 Mercury Prize. According to this journalist, music journalist, Ned Raggett, I don't really know who he is, but he's done a lot of music reviews for All Music or whatever, and he also does like reviews on Pitchfork, but he ranked it as number 45 on his list of top 136 albums of the 90s.
Okay.
I don't know why 136 specifically.
Yeah.
And at number 97 is a song called The Sound of Your Voice by 38 Special. I've never heard of this song.
Yeah, I just know like their two main ones.
Yeah, I just know their songs from the 70s. I didn't even know they made music into the 90s, but when I looked up this song was on their 9th studio album called Bone Against Steel, and it was their last album until their comeback in 1996. They were quiet for 5 years, and it peaked at number 33 on the Billboard Hot 100, and that was their last single that charted. Number 96 is Every Heartbeat by Amy Graham, which we've talked about before because that was
in the top.
in the top
at some point.
Yeah, so this was 19 weeks on the chart, and it did peak at number 2.
So we'll go to rankings and ratings then. Where on your 1 to 5 star scale are you going to put Dolly Dearest?
I'm going to give this a 1.
I'm surprised. You're talking about how you thought it was like witty and funny and stuff like that.
I like the kid, which you don't like. The brother.
I like
I mean,
daughter.
The little girl was good too.
I think she did a great job with playing the
but I was kind
demonic and manipulative stuff. I think the kid was just like a jerk the whole time. I think he's just like a self-absorbed jerk. So.
But I was just kind of like bored with the story, and I need, when there's a scary movie, I need to see some cool deaths. I think that's what it comes down to.
Yeah.
And I just didn't care.
Yeah, there needed to be more people to be thrown to the wolves or the dolls. There's just
or,
wasn't
like,
enough interest.
This is like, me, adding to the story, but if that spirit possessed these dolls like a week before they were there, they just laid dormant for a week until people came by. Like, wouldn't the dolls come to life and start ransacking the little town that they live in?
Yeah, they could have gotten out of the factory pretty easily, you'd think.
They just stayed in that factory until
do
people came in.
Yeah, that's a good point. I don't know. There's a lot that just doesn't make sense. I mean, the pacing is fine.
Yeah, it starts and it doesn't have this long-winded, like, backstory. I don't know.
But it's a lot of the mom trying to figure out what's going on and making sense of things, and then trying to convince other people when we don't care. Or, fine if that happens, but also just have the dolls kill more stuff in the meantime. And it just doesn't happen. So yeah, I'm with you. On my 0 to 4 star scale, I'm also giving it a 1. It's just not. Like I said, I don't think doll horror movies are the things for me, and this did not convince me otherwise yet. Every movie's worth watching once. Would you watch this again?
No.
No, I mean, you've mentioned like 4 different doll horror movies that we could watch instead, so there's plenty in this subgenre.
I mean, I'm not saying
after.
Dolls or Puppet Master is amazing movies or anything like
but
that.
It almost has to be better than this.
I just remember I just remember how creative it was. There was different types of dolls. It wasn't one doll.
Okay.
Coming to life.
Yeah, we'll see. Yeah, this one's a no. We don't need to see it again. If there was a sequel, then I guess maybe. But
I would see a sequel if there was one, but I know this didn't have one. Because I mean, from what I saw, it was limited release in just like the Midwest, but I didn't see how much money. I couldn't find any
box office info on it.
Yeah.
So if that shows up at some point, because that has happened a couple times with movies where box office information did get added where we didn't have it before. So if we find it at some point, we can add it to the list and whatever. But Yeah. I think this is just a shameless cash grab, and it just didn't warrant a sequel. If you out there want to watch Dolly Dearest as of this recording in September 2022, it's available on YouTube, VHS, or DVD. It was not on Popcorn Flicks, as we stated last week. As always, check your local listings as that can change. You can listen to us on all of your major podcasting platforms. Please remember to rate, review, subscribe, and tell your friends. You can email us at 1991movierewind@gmail.com. Follow us on Twitter, Instagram, Letterboxd, YouTube. Just search 1991 Movie Rewind or go to 1991movierewind.com for the full list of movies along with show notes and more. Next week, we're continuing our horror month with Afraid of the Dark. Not Are You Afraid of the Dark, but Afraid of the Dark. That's available through digital rental, VHS, or DVD. We will see you then.